Hello guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the Dallas Stars and their signings from July 1st of the NHL free agency period. Now, the Dallas Stars were in a lot of rumors for some big guys. Most notably, I heard that they were in rumors to acquire Artemi Panarin. That hasn't happened yet for any team. And we also knew that Dallas Stars were in the mix for John Tavares. Of course, that didn't end up happening. Him going to the Toronto Maple Leafs on a 7-year deal. But what did end up happening were some small moves the Dallas Stars needed to make to ensure that the team would be a little bit better going into next season. And they made some good depth moves, in my opinion. A lot of Stars fans I saw on Twitter were really unhappy about it, but I feel like they had a pretty solid one. Again, pretty much nothing compared to the banger of last season where you got Radulov, you got Mathot, and you got Bishop. But this, at least from the first day, we've seen a lot of decent moves and a lot of depth moves that could definitely help the team going forward. And most notably, to start out, you got Valeri Nichushkin, who we knew was going to get signed already. I already made a video about this, but we knew he was going to get signed, and he ends up being signed on July 1st, like was expected. He signs for 2 years at $2.95 million, so he's pretty much at $3 million, and that's about where I was pegging him to be. I think I had him like at $2.5 to $3 million. That's about where he's worth, and I feel like that's a pretty good contract for the Dallas Stars. For 2 years, that's a good, a period where you're going to test out how he looks in Dallas Stars uniform. I feel like it's very, very good for both sides. Next, you got probably one of my favorite moves from this free agency period so far is Anton Khudobin. 2 years at $2.50 million. He had relatively similar stats to Carletton this season, but on the Boston Bruins, he was good. He was a very solid backup, and he was doing fantastic at the start of the season and kind of tailed off a little bit towards the end of it. So if he can continue how he played at the start of the season with the Boston Bruins, I can see no reason why he'd be fantastic backup with Dallas, and I feel like that's a great pickup. At 2 years, he's getting older, but it's not too much money to give up to him. It's not like you're giving Carletton like $6 million again. It's a little bit less risky, and 2.5 is definitely reasonable for him. Como at 2 years, or 3 years at $2.40 million. So $2.4 million for 3 years. And for Blake Como, he's getting up there in age. I think he's 32 right now, so go towards he is 35. But that's a solid depth pickup for Dallas Stars. He got 34 points last season with the Colorado Avalanche, and if they put him on a third line role, I'd definitely not be mad about that. He's a solid player and a very solid third liner, and he'll definitely bring some offense that Dallas Stars needed as well. He's not the youngest guy out there. He's not going to bring in the most speed, but he's a good two-way guy. I think I'm definitely bringing a lot of presence to the Dallas Stars here next season. Now, next up, we have one of the funnier signings from just the day in general. Roman Polak, 1 year at $1.3 million. Honestly, I like it just because of the memes that can happen, just because of the jokes that can happen. Roman Polak is a Dallas Star. That's honestly fantastic. Roman Polak is not one of my favorite players, obviously, but he's just so bad that he's good, in my opinion. With Roman Polak being the Dallas Stars, it's just hilarious, and while I don't really want him to replace a guy like Honka or Heiskanen in the lineup, it's going to be hilarious to see Roman Polak in a Dallas Stars uniform sometime. That is probably going to be the best part. Next up, you got Michael Mersch for 2 years at a two-way contract going to the AHL. He's going to be a solid player and a pretty underrated guy throughout this free agency. Probably going to be a very solid add for Texas, and that's going to be a good pickup for the AHL team. So I'm not mad about that at all. A good sign there. You have Joel Hanley, 1 year he's a two-way guy, or a two-way contract in the AHL level. He played about 5 games with Arizona last season. Didn't do too much, but that's another solid pickup for the AHL team, adding some more all-around ability. Then you got Colton Point, the goaltender who played in the NCAA for a while this season and was amazing in the NCAA. I think he was leading the NCAA in pretty much every single category. He was absolutely stellar. He'll probably be the backup behind Landon Bow next season in the AHL team with the Texas Stars, since Mike McKenna was lost to free agency due to the Ottawa Senators picking him up. So, of course, the Dallas Stars have an opening and that backup position in the AHL team, and Colton Point perfectly fits that mold. If he's able to play well in that backup position, he could be a starter ahead of Landon Bow in that next year, and we could see Colton Point possibly carving out an NHL career, which would be amazing for, I think he's a 5th-round pick. Esperance, I'm trying to pronounce that right, but he gets a 2-year entry or level contract. I think he played a few games with the Texas Stars this season, not really too notable, but he probably will play with the Texas Stars this season, maybe have a role, but we'll see what happens there, but obviously not too big of a signing. But the Dallas Stars' first day in free agency, it was not really star heavy, but there was a lot of depth moves and a lot of depth moves throughout the slower NHL level and the AHL level. There's a lot of moves that need to be made, and the Dallas Stars made some of them. The biggest need was depth scoring. They get Blake Como. They also needed a backup goaltender. Of course, probably not going to bring back Kari Lehtinen, and they get Anton Khudobin. So they get a little bit better, and with Valeri Nichushkin, that's also going to help. They get a little bit better. They still need to fill a few holes here, but it's gotten a lot better in day one. Obviously not getting John Tavares, but it's still pretty good. And while certainly they could have done better in getting some bigger guys, I feel like getting out some of these depth guys and not paying too much for them. Relatively, Blake Como, not too much for him. Anton Khudobin, not too much for him. Valeri Nichushkin, not too much for him. When you look at guys like how Vancouver's paying Beagle and Roussel, you're paying a lot less guys for probably better production. For Blake Como, I really like him. Valeri Nichushkin, bringing him back is amazing. I like the depth moves that Dallas has made. It might not be enough to be a playoff contender, but we'll see what happens from here. And of course, free agency isn't even done yet. This is just the first day. We'll see what happens with the Dallas Stars and what they do in the future, but it's not quite over. We'll probably see some more moves in the future as well. But that's going to be it for you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe down below what you think of day one for the Dallas Stars. Why do you like their signings? Do you not like their signings? I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.